I think it is really important to make sure that we are in a sort of an open work environment where we do feel safe to talk about our feelings.
One of the big challenges that mental health has in the workplace is there is a lot of stigma. There are a lot of people that are scared to talk about their feelings.
Hi, I'm with two of my colleagues today, Zach and Sophie, and we're going to talk about mental health within VCG. Zach, perhaps you can start and tell us a little bit about yourself and why mental health is important for yourself.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Zach. I've been at the company, as you know, for around 2.5 years now. And so I sit in the business as a customer success manager. Quite early on into my journey with VCG, got involved with mental health first aid. And had a lot of personal experiences over the years with anxiety personally and depression. So for me, it's important to learn more about mental health, and particularly in the workplace, the impacts that can have, and how we can sort of encourage more positive mental health. Sophie, yourself?
So, I'm Sophie. I'm HR assistant here at VCG. And Zach, you definitely met me during your induction. Taryn, I think you started a little bit before me. Before I worked at VCG, I worked at Tesco's, which was actually a really sort of fast-paced, high sort of impact environment. And I think that's where my interest in mental health first aid really started. But I think it's also really important to have that sort of, when you're in HR as well, it's important to have that sort of personal touch and to encourage people to be open and honest with you. And so that's why I'm really passionate about it.
Cool. I think for myself, I've been here just over 3 years. For me, like many other people who do mental health, I've got personal family and friends who've been affected in different ways. So I wanted to kind of build on my first aid experience and learn about mental health because it is important, not only to the individuals, but it actually helps the organisations to be a bit more productive. And certainly for me, it's becoming just as important as physical health and safety did in the early 70s and the late 80s. So, Sophie, perhaps you could tell us about what VCG can offer in terms of resources and support if somebody needs it.
Well, in terms of support and stuff, I'm sure you've all heard me preach about our Unum Employee Assistance Programme. It's really good. It's just an app on your mobile phone, which you can download. You should have gotten a welcome email when you started, but if you haven't, please let me know and I'll definitely send one to you again. It has a digital GP, it has counselling sessions, nutrition support, savings and discounts, which is my personal favourite. I definitely think the digital GP is great, especially if you can't get into a GP in your own home. Like your own home address. You can get same day appointments and stuff, which is really amazing. We also have the Bupa Cash Plan because obviously your physical health and your mental health are so interconnected. So with the Bupa Cash Plan, you can get cash back on certain treatments like your dental, your optical. You can get £60 towards those. You can get money for therapies and stuff. I think it's £150. Again, if you want to know a bit more, feel free to talk to me at HR. I've got a whole PowerPoint presentation about it. And I do think we do offer some really good benefits. And we ourselves are a benefit as mental health first aiders. We're available for people if they just want to have a chat, just have a little vent, or if they feel like something's really bothering them. And then there's obviously so many other things that we can signpost to as well. So, there's Samaritans, there's Andy's Man's Club. I don't know if either of you two watch football at all.
I'm not a fan personally.
Okay, a little bit. Okay, that's fair enough. You see them at football stadiums quite a bit, I believe. So it's about getting men to talk together because, as you may or may not know, I think it's 3 in 4 suicides are men. Men are less likely to speak about their feelings, and obviously we're in quite a male-dominated industry as well. So that's why I think it is really important to make sure that we are in a sort of an open work environment where we do feel safe to talk about our feelings. Yeah.
I think talking is important as well because the more you talk about the challenges, whether they be work related or not, it's going to allow people to sort of open up more and break the stigma around, because I think that is one of the big challenges that mental health has in the workplace. Is there is a lot of stigma. There are a lot of people that are scared to talk about their feelings.
Yeah.
It's almost a lot of the time seen as a weakness, which I think is important for us to be in place so we can try and break the back of that almost, and encourage people to talk about their problems.
Absolutely. So from that point of view, Zach, perhaps you can tell us about some of the key events coming up this year.
So I think it's important to encourage people to talk around the business, around their mental health. And one of the ways that we can encourage that is by, committing events, throughout the year. So although we are here as a team and as a resource, whether someone needs to talk through something, whether they need to listen, or, whether they just need a distraction, a walk out of the office, go for a coffee somewhere and just, clear their head a little bit. We are putting some focus around some key weeks and, around this year. So we have Mental Health Awareness Week, and then later on in the year as well, we also have Men's Mental Health Awareness Week, more specifically, which you touched on earlier when you talked about that the Andy Man's Club, and also National Suicide Prevention Week, also later on this year as well. So what we probably look at doing is putting some of that activity onto Pulse, and do some activities around the business, get people encouraged to to actually sort of open up and talk a little bit more.
I think that the business are putting in the mental health support and have enabled us as mental health first aiders to be there to listen. We're not there to judge. We're there literally to listen, to kind of be that independent ear. But we can also signpost. We're not there to diagnose, which is one thing. But we do keep an eye out and maybe sort of recommend if you speak to your line manager or speak to your doctor or whatever might be appropriate at the time. But it's essentially to give someone a place to come to without worry if they have got those worries that they want to talk through.
It's a discreet resource, isn't it, at the end of the day? Someone, if you need an ear to listen, and it's obviously not always easy to talk. A lot of people, and from personal experience as well, when you try and talk about what it is that you're experiencing, the words can get stuck in your throat, and that is difficult. So you might not even be able to talk through your problems. You might just need to get some headspace. And I think us being on hand, sort of supports a lot of that around the business. So we encourage people to hopefully come and have that confidence to talk to us.
It is just nice to know that you have a person that you can vent to or speak to just about anything.
Agreed. No, completely. I think anything which is discussed always should be held in confidence, and a lot of the time it is obviously quite difficult in the working day to find that time. I think what is important is if you are in that headspace where you feel like you are struggling, work can come second. Can come secondary to that. I think what is really important is looking after your well-being, because if you don't look after yourself, you're not going to be able to work effectively. You're not going to be able to function as yourself effectively, and it's going to make it really difficult to to sort of get through that day. So it'd be good when people do talk to us and put that trust in us.
I think that the other part of that is VCG will look at situations if needs be and help with adjustments, and sometimes that's all it needs, just a temporary adjustment, temporary bit of help to get over wherever's there. So I think that's a really good way forward. But the first step is reaching out and speaking to someone, whether it's us as first aiders, mental health first aiders, or even line managers if you feel comfortable in doing that. So Sophie, perhaps you can tell us about the charities we work with for mental health.
Okay, so our big charity this year is the Wellspring Foundation. You guys all would have probably seen us doing quite a lot for the Wellspring. They help with homelessness. Your mental health can have such a huge impact on that. So it's really important that we have sort of these charities in place. And the Wellspring is local to Stockport. It is a Stockport-based charity. So far we've raised about £1,600, I think.
It's good money to a good cause, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So, Taryn, what would you say some of the biggest misconceptions around mental health are in the workplace?
First of all, especially being a male, a lot of people don't want to share because they are scared, and the misconception is that they can't share, and if they do share, that's a mark against them. The reality, though, is that by sharing, you get the support, and actually companies, and VCG included, are often quite open to offering that support up. That works for everybody. I think another one is it's quite often looked at as being very woke. It's not. The reality is it's the same as physical health and safety. we've got to learn how best to transition. And if we look at how physical health and safety changed from, say, the late 60s onwards, it took a bit of a cultural shift. But the reality is everyone recognises there's good possibility, good results from it. And as such, it's almost ingrained in everyone's working. But again, you start talking about the mental health side of things, everyone starts looking at it, oh, that's a bad light. But the reality is, it's currently it's across generations. So from the millennials to the Gen Xers and even older in some respects, that there is a recognition and there is a change starting to go, actually, this is the right thing to do, and there are benefits to everybody involved. The individuals, especially the companies as well, but also society. So it is changing. It is changing.
Yeah. I think there is definitely a shift in dynamic. I think you touched on there's multiple generations which shifted their perspective almost, largely anyway, around mental health. And I think it's important, obviously, to continue to encourage that and to continue down that pattern. I think mental health in itself can be speaking from personal experience, can be devastating to not only yourself, the people around you, the way that you feel in yourself, and it can impact your physical health as well. So I think the more that we can encourage people to want to sort of talk around it, as difficult as that can be at times, I think breaking down the stigma, the more we talk about it, the more that that societal shift is going to sort of be encouraged as well, and will allow people to feel more comfortable to talk about it as well.
Absolutely. And it should be part of our everyday conversation. Just sitting around, how are you? Getting the response, I'm fine. Always worth challenging and saying, but how are you? Because quite often that's how people respond.
Ask a second time.
Absolutely. And if you're unsure what to do, reach out, but have an open ear and seek the support if you feel you need it, and without worry.
When it comes to sort of mental health first aid, you can't look after others until you look after yourself. So what would you say are the best ways that you personally do your mental health self-care?
I think mental health first aid or mental health care is down to the individual, but it starts with knowledge and resources. I think a really good one of those on the internet is Mind. You've also got the Andy's Man groups as well, where you can physically meet people. But I think that quite often the result and the understanding, it comes from individual experience, individual knowledge. And the best thing then to suggest is for someone to, if they want to know more, go learn more. Make sure that the sources are respected and known. But quite often you'll form your own plans using multiple sources, multiple knowledge, multiple experience, and it will change over time. The plan you start off with may not be the same you end up with.
There is a lot of help and resources out there, which I think is good, and that's ever growing, I think. But like you touched on there, Darren, as well, it's individual to the person. I personally know if I want to be able to sort of speak to people if I'm going through a period of negative mental health. If I want to talk to people, I know that I've built up a support network around myself of people that I can engage with and I can speak with. And sometimes I just need a bit of peace and quiet to be left alone and play some games. It really varies, doesn't it? I think when you are in that headspace as well, where you've recognized that something isn't quite right and you do need that help, I think it is important to not, to make a plan almost in terms of, if you're able to, take the time, get through each day, but make a plan to make things, whether that's you're going to commit 30 minutes a day to go out for a walk, or you're going to make sure you get up at a certain time and go to bed at a certain time. But, introducing some of that structure can really help to sort of shift your state of mental health.
I'd probably add a little bit of self-care, getting up, getting dressed, combing your hair, doing the bed, whatever works for you. Just a little bit of as you say, a bit of a plan that you can fall back to. Yeah, good advice. Sophie and Zach, it's been good talking to you about mental health in VCG and in general. Zach, do you want to just kind of help us wrap up and maybe give some advice and some next steps if anyone's interested?
Yeah, sure. It's been good talking to you both about mental health. I know it's obviously, a central part of what we do here. It's something that we collectively, sort of live and breathe, not just within the workplace, but within our daily lives as well. And I think more so than anything, what I want to encourage is that although we are in place within the business as a team, anyone can come and talk to us, or if they need someone to listen, if they need a distraction, we are always here. But if you're not confident in talking to us, you've got potentially friends around the business that you may be more comfortable to speak with, and that may be an easier option for you. So I think talking is always good. It doesn't, like I say, necessarily need to be collectively with one of us, although it would remain confidential if that did happen. So I just want to encourage people more so to talk than anything. And if there is an interest across the business for people to know more and understand more around mental health, what resources are available, or even look at becoming a mental health first aider themselves, then come and speak to us, and we'll have a chat around it.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, been great speaking. And
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate your time today.
all right,
Thank you.
cheers.